Well, good afternoon, beloved of God. Thank you for joining. Thank you for connecting. We will be starting at 2 p.m. sharp. And so we're going to just give another couple of seconds here. Well, my clock has just switched to 2 p.m. while I was saying we'd wait to 2 p.m. I realize some of you are still connecting and you may not hear all of what I'm saying, but again, welcome this afternoon to this much needed conversation. Elder Stevens, we have a more than proficient person on the line with us. I see the one and only Deborah Dalton, who could probably give this backwards with her eyes closed. So it's good to have some other subject matter experts on here. Beloved, Psalm 137 verses 1 through 4 says this, Psalm 137, 1 through 4. By the rivers of Babylon, we sat and wept when we remembered Zion. There on our poplars, we hung our harps. For there our captors asked us to sing songs. Our tormentor demanded songs of joy. They said, sing us one of the songs of Zion. Here's their response in verse 4. How can we sing the songs of the Lord while in a strange land? Other translation may say sing the songs of Zion while in a strange land. I think this virtual world is a strange land for most of us, but it is a land where the Lord is still present, just like with the writer of this psalm, and as down as it may sound, it's actually a psalm of encouragement. But certainly we have found ourselves in some waters of trepidation, and things are constantly changing. That's one of the things about technology, is technology today is not necessarily technology tomorrow. And so we wanted to convene this session for us to come together and have a conversation around broadcasting, and specific to some of the changes that are forthcoming on Facebook, which I know many of our churches utilize Facebook as one of their methods of broadcasting Sunday morning or any of their worship services live. And so there's some impending changes that are going to happen, some of which you're probably already noticing as it relates to maybe you're live on Sunday morning and you only got 2 viewers, and you normally have a whole lot more than that, or you're live and people are saying we can't hear. Well, there's some changes that are really going to go into effect here at the first part of August, but I guess there's kind of a layered effect to how they're implementing some of those changes. So we have with us today Elder Trevor Stevens. He is the owner-operator of Potential Kinetic. He is our minister of web services here with the General Baptist State Convention, and does so much behind the scenes to help us do the things that we do. And so he's going to be leading the presentation today. There will be time for Q&A. There will even be some time, hopefully, for you to really dig in and ask specific questions about your situation, which will segue into an offline conversation. But we wanted to give you some good information you could use and something you could walk away with, as well as also opening up the door maybe for a continued conversation to get some of those questions answered that some of us don't always have time to slow down and research for ourselves. So without further ado, I'm going to hand the floor over to Elder Trevor Stevens. I am going to put a PDF copy of his presentation in the chat towards the end, so that we can all listen in while he's going through, but then still have access to it after the fact to look through some things that he won't really cover in depth today. So Elder Stevens, the ship is in your hands, sir, and we thank you for your time and stewardship.
Okay, I get good. All right, so good afternoon, everybody. I'm Trevor. I am a member of Tabernacle Praise Church International in York, South Carolina. I have been in the digital space as far as like helping churches for like a little bit over 5 years when it comes to logo design, branding, website design, live streaming, things of that nature. And I've also, I love technology. So a part of me, I was born in the millennial era, so I grew up with the technology that pretty much has become the big part of what we're doing right now in the world. And I just wanted to make sure that before I start this conversation, I'll let you know that I love Jesus. I love Jesus enough to understand that Samaria also needs some love too. And that's the way I normally approach the digital world, is that it is our Samaria. It was where people have already been there, people we know that we may not even see anymore. For some reason, they're in Samaria, which is online. Some people, if you're on Facebook, you normally can attest to the fact that you have friends and family that you had not seen in years that for some reason you could find in Samaria. You know, Facebook gives a lot of you the opportunity to go out and find those people and connect back with those people. You know, so when I talk to the church about this, I'm like, don't be afraid. That's my first bit of advice to you right now. Don't be afraid when we're talking about technology. If you don't know it, you have help. I want to make sure that that's ahead of the conversation before we even get into anything. But we're going to talk about some of these weird changes that have been implemented into Facebook, because I don't want you guys to not be unaware. We talked to Dr. Barr about it a couple of weeks back, and it just, I could tell the exclamation point went off on the top of his head. It was like, you need to talk about this publicly. So I'm going to get into a PowerPoint presentation. Like Dr. Barr said, I've already provided a PDF, and the PDF has all active links. So anything that I'm talking about in here actually has an active link you can click to and see the entire article that deals with this particular situation. So that way, if you needed more information, you guys will have that information. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to jump into this real quick. And you guys let me know if you can see it. Okay, I see heads nodding, so I'm gonna keep going.
I see it.
Okay. So like I said, I'm Trevor Stevens. I'm the owner of Potential Turn Kinetic LLC. Like I said, and it's a digital solutions business for small churches, conventions, organizations, and also for business. And today's agenda, we're going to talk about the new Facebook information and also some helpful tools for ministry, which is digital solutions. Actual opportunity for you guys to get 0% processing for church funds, because that's been a very big deal in the past 2 years. I would probably say that churches have lost so much money in processing fees because of the restrictions and stuff like that with COVID. We saw a lot of churches lose thousands of dollars a year because they had to put it through a Giveify and PayPal and stuff like that. So I want to be able to share with you something that actually may help alleviate that. And also, I'll give you my contact information for said projects or anything like that if you need me in the future. So let me move this out the way. All right. So churches expect to freely share the gospel, which is true. One of the things that at least for we to start this is that we're in a situation now where, because we're using these digital resources, we kind of don't know who owns this stuff. So yes, these things are very wonderful tools that we can use to increase our ministry using Facebook, YouTube, things of that nature. But there are some restrictions that we're going to have to be very cognizant of, and that we cannot ignore. You know, we were always told to not be left helpless of Satan's schemes, and things that we know that will actually come up with technology and disrupt your ministry. We've had a couple of instances already where people have had their services cut short because they have violated these rules and standards. So big tech has created this new thing called community standards. And community standards change every like 6 to 8 months because they have to add something additional to try and keep up with the wild, wild west that is the internet. So I want to lead you to 3 things that have been a major problem, and why, if you're using Facebook, and I don't know if you've had this happen before, we've seen it happen at our church. I've talked to a couple of the people that have had this happen. You're streaming on Facebook. Your every prayer, everything y'all did. Then you get to the song, and then all of a sudden, your stream dies. And then you have to reconnect. And then you go back, and then the sound is gone. And then you have to reconnect. This is not because your equipment is bad. It's not because you did something wrong on the streaming side. This is actually Facebook doing this work. It's actually doing something in the background that I think would really, really help you guys to understand how important it is for you to know what they're doing with your time and what you're also trying to do with your ministry. So this is the first one, violating community standards and guidelines. So Facebook and YouTube community guidelines, and these two links, when you have this, you can click both of them. They'll tell you every single one of their guidelines. But I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of the things I know that affect the church. But here's some restrictions. Hate speech, or like and these are all subjective. Harmful or dangerous content, deceptive practices of scams, misinformation. And like I said, these things are things that people can file against you. We had a situation happen at our church. We were doing a fundraiser for a few of our churches that we have in Africa. And we actually paid for an ad, like a Facebook ad, paid like $15 for it to reach out to a certain amount of people. It went to this one particular guy, and the guy filed a complaint against the video saying that it was misinformation. When that happened, Facebook struck the video and took it down and barred it from ever being posted again. And we tried to fight it, but Facebook was like, well, look, he said that it offended him. So because it offended him, we can't take that away. So when you're going into this new avenue, just knowing that these terms are subjective. Hate speech is subjective. Harmful and dangerous content is subjective. Deceptive practices and scams is subjective. Misinformation is also subjective. And these things have a host of people in the background called moderators that look over these things when they're submitted. And even if they don't have all the information set before them, they can make a decision that will actually affect your ministry. So this is one of the first gates that has been put up to stop you from doing things that, you know, or like at least saying things or encouraging, putting scripture up, trying to refute certain things. I saw some people go up against I forget the name of it's an atheist page, and they put something out about the church, and one of the guys made a response against it. They were stricken and they lost their page for hate speech. So these things are things you have to be very cognizant of when you're online, so that way you don't get caught up in one of these traps. Now, here's one that just a recent example that got me. So, for example, both Facebook and YouTube blocked one church's Easter service live stream after people complained about their portrayal of Jesus' crucifixion. YouTube stated that the church was appearing to profit from a tragic event with no discernible benefit to users. The church explained the crucifixion scene was made with the intent of helping us all understand the incredible gift of grace. After a frustrating and lengthy process, the video was eventually reinstated, but they could not change the negative impact its removal had on the Easter service. Unfortunately, many social media guidelines are subjective, like I was saying earlier, rather than objective. And many people are offended by basic biblical teachings. In the end, big tech employees may not understand the heart behind your gospel-centered content. And just one community guideline strike is enough to block your church's videos and live streams. If you want to know that case, like I said, this will be in the PDF. You can go and read it to understand what actually happened. But these are the waters that we have to navigate with this virtual world. The second, which is the one that most churches are getting really, really hemmed up on, is music copyright infringements. Okay. Now, this is, I would probably say, 3/4 of the reason why most churches have their live streams stopped. I'm going to show you an example. So let me see. Let me move this out of the way. I'm going to share another one of my screens so you can see something on our actual page, on our church's page that I'm the admin over. I just want you to get a good picture of like this background of Facebook and what they talk about. So let's see, share. All right. Cool, we're there. So here is my church's Facebook page with my pastor, and I pretty much operate as the admin to help post and make sure all the things go right with the website. I mean, with the Facebook page. So we did service on Sunday, right? July 17th is right there. Went live at 8:55.
Elder Stevens.
Yes, sir.
Right now, the way you've got the view set up, the website is hard to see. Your picture is large, where it's normally your picture would be small and the website would be large. So I don't know if you need to invert the displays or if that's even an option. But
well, I think if the people go to view and change side-by-side gallery, because I see his page large and I see everybody small. So people just go to the view and make sure you do side-by-side gallery or speaker view, and that'll help you out.
Thank you, Dr. Dalton.
No worries.
So here we have, well, I'll wait a couple moments, but I'll talk about just what this means. So with this particular video on Sunday, we had a situation, we sung, I forgot which song it was, and I immediately cringed. Not because I don't love the song, but because I knew it was going to happen. So they start singing the song, and I was like, man, I contacted the guy I said, just check the stream. And he said, it tried to kick us out. I said, just immediately reinstate the video, get it back in there. So he got it back in there, thankfully. So there wasn't any skips for the people who are watching on Sunday. But that's an absurd amount of work that you have to do to watch over what's actually going on. So let me show you what this looks like. So they put a stripe. This is what they call a stripe on our video. And what this says is that your video is partially muted due to a copyright match. Now, a copyright match, what that means is that somebody owns a particular song, which we love to sing. And here's the thing, the sad part, or at least the part that we have to remember, the person that sung the song doesn't own that song. So a Kirk Franklin don't own his songs, okay? Bishop McClurkin don't own his songs. Morton don't own his songs. These are all going through record labels. And because they're going through record labels, the record labels are saying to you, you can't play my music without me getting money. So Facebook, because they don't like paying people, this is a fun, just keep that in mind because this is a common problem with Facebook. They don't like paying people. So because they don't like paying people, they mute it. And this is what it looks like in the background. So they gave me a message, like they said, hey, there are changes to your video. One or more actions were applied to your video because of copyright match. Now, they won't tell me what song I did. All they're going to tell me is that there have been 45 seconds audio that they own, with 9 minutes, so 45 seconds of audio they own, and they tell me the territories that has been blocked in. Okay. Now, this affects your ministry, because if you do a song of any particular type, let's say, it was Galilee, wasn't it? It was Galilee Baptist, right? Like we were talking to yesterday, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So the media specialist there told us that they were doing a song. It was "Imagine Me" by Kirk Franklin. The youth were dancing to it, and their stream just stopped. And they saw that they had a drop in viewership, and that's because Facebook killed their stream. Depending on what type of song it is, sometimes they let you pass by, but not every song is going to get a understanding from Facebook. They will block your video, or they'll knock your video off of the actual feed, so people actually can't access it. Now, it's worse because it's one thing that I noticed, especially with helping out churches within the past 3 years, there's confusion when it comes to Facebook pages. Okay. So there's a Facebook page that is more like a business page. And this is a segue just because I know it needs to be said. This is a business page for your church. It is free to make, and it gives you a lot more control. Your lives have more control. What you post has more control. You have better scheduling abilities. Like, let's say if you have an event and you may forget, but you've already built a flyer, you can put it in the background to post on that day. I think it's 3 months out. They'll let you post almost 3 months out. Now, here's the difference, because I made two for our church. One is actually a regular Facebook page. This is a page that is not a business page. It's hard to tell the difference. It's hard to tell the difference, but this is what I normally tell people. This is how you know. When you go here to pages, if you click those 9 dots if you're on a website, you click those 9 dots. If you're on your phone, there is a section where your name is. You click it. They have a little, it looks like a flagpole. It says page. You click that. When you click that, you'll see what's an actual, I'm creating a page. You'll see what's actually a page. So right now, I manage a lot of pages, so please forgive me. I manage like probably close to 20. But here are all the pages, right? So in here, I see Tabernacle of Praise. That matches this one right here. I don't see the other one. The other one's not in there. So another way you also know is by, it says manage your page. Normally in the top, you see manage page, you get to see this thing called Meta Suite, like Business Suite. That means they give you extra options to take care of your page. Now, if you need training on this stuff, let me know. We can do that later on. I'm not gonna be able to do it on this call. There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot to cover with that, but that's definitely something I'm willing. I've taught a lot of people how to use it. And I have some people that are like, that I'm already helping. It's like, no, just leave me alone and just tell me how it works. And I'm perfectly fine with that too. But pretty much the regular pages have this thing called Meta Business Suite attached to it. If you don't see that on your church's page, you don't have a business page. If you have a regular page, the restrictions on music are 5 times higher for you, because the community guidelines for a regular person is more strict, because when you say, I'm going to sign up for Facebook, you say, I agree to not posting anything that's owned by other people. A page is given a little bit more leniency for that. They'll let you do enough, but they'll warn you, not let you do something very egregious, but they'll let you go. But if you have a regular Facebook page, people don't know that you're going live unless you're a friend. With a regular Facebook or Facebook business page, anybody that likes the page gets a notification that you've gone live immediately. If you're on a regular page, nobody gets a notification. So there's some small things that, like I said, for this meeting, I can't do everything on that. So I'm gonna get off this for a moment, but definitely in the end, when we have question time, please ask me questions, and I'm more than happy to help. All right, let me get back to the presentation. Let's see. Music. Yeah, now we go copyright. Yeah, we already been through that. Like, once again, I have like they have some religious exemptions. Let me go ahead and put that in there. There's some hymns that have religious exemption that anybody can sing because they've been in the public for so long. They don't really care about that. You know, so, but when you come to the new songs, any song that's been produced, like, let's say within the last 30 to 40 years, like, and it's been put through an actual record label, they own that and they will ping you. And this happens also on YouTube, but not as bad as Facebook. What YouTube does, YouTube will tell you at the end that you use it. But what they do is that let's say if that stream got thousands upon thousands of hits and it began to make money on YouTube, the church gets $0 because it was copyright claimed. The business that put the claim on it gets the funds off of every single view for that video. So that's just a quick, once again, tidbit just to keep you in the know on that. But so all the links are in this PDF are going to be active for you to access and see all the things that they're actually talking about. The last is content ID strikes. So similar to the copyright permissions for music, you need to get permission to upload or stream any pre-recorded music. Now, this is something that I've seen people that they'll make a video for, like, Mother's Day, for instance, right? And they're using somebody else's song to put the Mother's Day video onto YouTube or Facebook. They will strike that down. Facebook will actually ban it. They're like, no, we don't want this. You are not allowed. We will mute this entire thing. They will not let you use any of the sounds. So what Facebook did to kind of circumvent this is that they give you a sounds studio that you can use to get free sounds and stuff like that from. But as we all know, they free sounds ain't hitting it. So we want the song that we put on there to use it. But because of this era that we're in, if you use any song with any video, any presentation or pictures or anything like that, that's tied to another person's copyright ownership, like they own that particular song, you won't be able to use that on Facebook. YouTube, the same thing I said earlier, where if you played the song, because you played the song, the person who made the song or who published the song gets the money and the views for that. So if it did blow up and it did get a couple thousand, hundreds of thousands of views, you would not be able to reap any benefit from that at all for that. So yeah, but that's the gist of that particular part, is that you can't post videos on Facebook that has somebody else's music on it. So I'm going to tell you just a few alternatives for small church, just to give you some connected dots, because one of the things I especially talking to a lot of small churches, some of these things are inevitable. The one thing that I'm praying about for churches, and I say this openly as much as I quite possibly can, is that churches begin to develop their own sound. Now, that's a lot to ask. I know that's a lot to ask, but that's something that I'm willing to commit to prayer for churches, is that we don't use these people's songs. That's not saying that they're bad people or anything like that, but because they're backed by these companies, and these companies mean business about their money, the church is in the crosshairs of these companies and them getting their money. That's the worst place for you to be as a church, to be in a crosshair between a money-hungry business and their money. So, I'm praying that churches begin to remove the need for singing other people's songs all the time inside of their building. That's going to be a tall ask. It's probably going to take years. I know it will. But since we're not there yet, there are a couple of streaming solutions that you can use that people can actually join and collaborate with, and that also allow it to go to Facebook and YouTube and things of that nature as well. So Vimeo, I think Sister Dalton know more about Vimeo. As a matter of fact, Sister Dalton, if you don't mind, because I think you have a higher level expertise on this. So if you can tell the people what are the benefits of using Vimeo for church.
One of the major benefits of using Vimeo is that you own access to it. You're actually paying for the rights to use it. The challenge with social media is you're using a free device, so you are subject to whatever this free platform puts on you. With Vimeo, you have recourse. It's just a matter of being accountable. And you can stream pretty much anything you want to on Vimeo, and it's yours, and you own it, and it's stored on your section that you pay for, that you can manage and you can control, and you have immediate recourse when something goes wrong. Amen. And that's why I love Vimeo, because I use the other platforms as well, but Vimeo is our database of storing everything because we own that space. Outside of having your own server in your office where you store everything, Vimeo is the next best thing.
Amen.
And they're one of the original platforms that we're doing streaming.
Amen. Like so, and on top of that, Vimeo, like you would say, like Sister Dawson was saying just a moment ago, Vimeo has a system set that system so much away from YouTube and Facebook, because they're saying we will give you the right to stream it wherever you want. So if you wanted to put it on YouTube, you can use Vimeo. Vimeo will push it. You want to go Facebook, it'll push it. I think, don't they do Zoom now too, right? Like Zoom, I think they had.
You can store your stuff on Zoom.
On Zoom,
just to give you some context of the platform of Vimeo, most of your streaming movie channels exist on the structure that Vimeo has created. So your Netflix, your Hulu, and that exist on Vimeo. So they own all the material. They don't have anything wrong. I mean, the quality of morality and ethics standards of it, what it is. But that's how powerful that engine is.
Yeah.
And over the past 3 years, they've priced it a lot better.
Yes. Yeah. And I know that at least even for smaller churches, you don't have to go in the very, very high bracket, like where you could go with literally a $10 a month situation. If you're not doing maybe only just the services and things like that for the month, you can literally just pay the $10 and you have full autonomy on Vimeo.
And it used to be live stream. So if you have people that were doing live stream, Vimeo and live stream are the same company now.
That's right. So like you have multiple, like I said, that is always my number one recommend when it comes to that. I'm actually looking to migrate our church over into Vimeo. It's taking some time because we got some folk that just we don't want to change nothing. So I'm easing my way to showing them the benefits of what it would do for the ministry going forward, but just want to make sure that you guys are also made aware. Now, YouTube is my number 2, because at least in this situation that we're in right now, even though YouTube will strike a video that has music, they won't mute your video. Okay. So I'm trying to help people, I'll give you 2 more reasons why I tell people YouTube is also pretty cool. So one of the other reason is, do you have a TV that takes the Wi-Fi or internet? If you have a TV that does that, that TV has YouTube. And you can watch YouTube on your TV. So that means that, like, let's say if there's a contingency of people who are doing virtual events, well, not virtual, they're virtually watching from home. They can watch it on their TV, and they can use their phone and go to the page to talk to people in the stream. So it gives them a better access on, like, being able to engage in it. And also, the other part is that they also give you free access back to all your videos. Now, Facebook, unfortunately, like, this is also something they've done within the past year. They used to let you download your videos back off of Facebook. Well, they took that away. They made it very difficult to grab your own stuff unless it's a picture off of Facebook. If it's a video, they're saying we own it. It's our code now. You don't get to get your video back. YouTube is saying, well, we have a database, kind of like what Vimeo is. This is a database of all your videos, and you can re-download those videos in its original set. So let's say if you've done a live and you wanted to use that to split it up to do something different with it for another presentation, on YouTube, you have the ability to go back and do that. Like I said, Facebook will not give you the access to do that. They won't. So like that's why I always tell people YouTube is still a viable option for ministry at this particular point in time. Now, as technology changes, this will likely change. But so just to be honest with you, but for the time being in 2022 and likely into 2025, we should be okay using YouTube. The other one is a unconventional one, but it's actually not bad. It's called Streamyard. Now, they actually have I have the link. I think I got the videos in front of it, but I have a link at the bottom of the page that, there it is, that will let you see how StreamYard actually can help your church do live streams. They have a very comprehensive, it's like $20 a month, very comprehensive set. All you need is one camera, one microphone. They're not asking for nothing crazy. You give them that, they stream. And on top of that, once again, they do multi-streaming, which is like they can with simulcast, meaning they can stream to Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. Or you can stream to one or the other. You can also do a private event where it's only on StreamYard, kind of like how Zoom is, what we're doing right now. They have that set up also in there for you to do that too. So you can just have a private situation. If you had to have like a town hall meeting or like, a minister's meeting or something like that, this actually kind of doubles as Zoom as well. So I tell you this, that this is actually not bad. I tested it for like 2-3 months when they first got it out, and I was able to give them the review like on their initial set. And I tell you, it's a very good service. It's not like I said, and it's very comprehensive for a church, especially even for Bible studies. Let's say if you have to do a Bible study at home, right? And you own this, well, you're paying for the StreamYard. Well, all you need is your phone or a computer, and you can do it directly from home. No need to go back to the church trying to figure out how to set stuff up and all the rest of that good stuff. You can do it right from the home, and you have comprehensive way to get in contact with your people. Amen. All right, now let's go.
So he ain't saying much about it.
Oh, is I? So the next one is Switcher Studio. And Switcher Studio, I've talked with a couple of people that have used this. The only backdraw for Switcher Studio, which I don't think is really that big of a backdraw, because most people on this line likely have an iPhone or an iPad, likely. So I'm an Android person, so I come with a little bit of shade on there. I'm sorry, but it's not like Android. But Switcher Studio is an app that you can download from the App Store, put it on your iPad, put it on your iPhone, and it literally gives you all the tools you need to run a full service. They let you do scriptures. They let you do like headers that like for people's names and scripture reading. They let you put up graphics and all the rest of that good stuff. They let you do that on your phone or on your iPad. And once again, you can pull the sound from your we have it's called an iRig. If you need to write that down for yourself, IRIG, iRig for Apple. It's only for Apple. And iRig creates this plugin that plugs into the bottom of the Apple device, and it lets connectors from your soundboard connect directly to your iPhone or to your iPad. And it's about like $30-40. It's not a whole lot. like to actually use that. So, but this is one of the ones I've seen people also use, but like I said, it's just for iOS. Sorry, Android people, we ain't got one. We ain't that special, you know, we don't get that. So, but if you have Apple, this is definitely another solution that you can use too. And I have the link also for that one as well. So here's some things that I can do, just so in case you need this, okay? I build websites. I do graphics, I think, for the past, how many years, Dr. Bob? How many years it's been? 2, it's been 2 now? Easily 2 years. For the past 2 years, every graphic that you've seen for GBSC has been because it's been from my making. The website design, the redesign for GBSC Online, that was also me. The theater creation was like 4 or 5 brain trust. I ain't gonna take the credit for that because that took a lot of brain power. But the creation of the theater and implementation, I was a part of that to help refine a better user experience for you guys when you're doing the online and things like that. Logo design, I've done some people's logos. Well, I would probably say more than some, but I've done enough logos now to where I have to offer a service called regeneration, because I've had so many churches come to me with their old logos, but they can't use them because they are not updated to the new systems and stuff like that. So what I've been doing lately is I've been taking the old logos and I've been recreating them into it's the same logo, but it's just making sure that we can use it now. So the GBSC logo, it hasn't changed at all. I was given it to restore. So I did my very best to make sure that it remained the same, but for future videos, publication, websites, t-shirts, whatever else, that it would actually be usable on those products and not look pixelated and things like that. Then also podcasting. Podcasting is an avenue that I'm encouraging most churches to do, because it's free. It's very free. It's real free to do. And a lot of churches have old CDs and tapes and things like that of sermons probably dating back to I can't even call. And this is a way for you to kind of make your own library of sermons and lists and lessons and have that readily available. I always tell people video is cool. It's real cool, but nothing beats audio. The reason I say that is because when you're in your car, if you're looking at a video while you're in your car, you're a danger to everybody. But if you're listening to music, you somewhat of a danger depending on the song that's on. But you're not as much of a danger as you would be just listen to it. If you're in the house and you're doing housework or you're outside doing stuff, normally music is your best recourse because it's something that's playing in the air. You don't have to worry about having to watch it. You can just listen to it. So I tell people podcasting in that same way for churches allows a better saturation when it comes to the gospel and the messages that people actually want to re-listen to. Some people are still paying for CDs, which that's cool. But I think that podcasting also lets you go a lot further. So let me show you quickly what podcasting can do. And this is also another example for my church. We use SoundCloud, and this only because I've been on SoundCloud literally since like 2015 with our church. So it's been a while. And the SoundCloud is the wild west for music. Everybody and their mama put music on here. Rappers from all over the planet, artists like pop stars, R&B, they all put their stuff on here. When it started, it was very small as an indie thing. Now it's gotten more funding, so now people are doing other things. But we started in 2015 with this, and it started off with maybe like 30 people listening. So I'm going to show you some quick analytics, and I'm going to show you some countries that listen to our church. And our church is small. We like hardly have 100 people. So just this week, we had like 43 hits, and that's no advertisement. That's just because we got sermons up, and they tell us what sermons have actually gotten listened to. And some of these, you see, that's from 2014. That's very old. So we have that. Then you have, let me get you to the world graph real quick. So this right here, that shows our top listeners by city and by country. So on this map, you see if I can pull it up bigger than that. So on this map, you see a comprehensive list of where people are actually listening. Now, this is only this week. So let me scale it back 30 days. You see some more light up. Let me scale it back 12 months. You see this? So there are people from all other parts of the world, some that are Islamic, that are overrun by all types of craziness right now, that are able to listen to a gospel message in their country. And this is because when you do podcasting on your very phone that you have in your hand right now, or right near your person right now, on that phone, if you have an Apple device, they have Apple Podcast. If you have Android device, they have something called, I think it's just called Podcast. You just call Play Podcast. But in there, our church podcast is on every single device. So if you are interested, all you have to do is type up Tabernacle Praise and you'll find us and you'll be able to listen to a message from our church. You know, so like that's just, it's one of the things I tell people all the time. It's a very, very good resource. And it's also good for your parishioners as well, because that way, if they're like, man, I missed something, or let's say somebody was a church, because like the one of the compliments I get, which I'm thankful, is that like I get the people who are doing children's church and things like that. They're like, man, I wish I could have listened to the message. And then I'm like, well, it's on podcast. So they can go back while they're driving home, they get back home, whatever, they can pop it in and listen to it. So that way they haven't missed that word as well. Because I know that sometimes people feel a little jealous when they're helping out the kiddies. They want to hear what's, they're like, why everybody going crazy in the sanctuary? I need to know. But it can't, because they're taking care of the children, you know, but giving them that extra opportunity to be ministered to as well, you know, is a very good resource. So like I said, but they have multiple services that can actually let you do it for free. This one, I pay a reduced price because I've been on for so long, but I just don't want to move it because I've been on it for a while. But to set people up, I now have comprehensive ways to help you set it up for free. So that way you have full ownership of your podcast. The website situation that I was talking about, I don't know if New St. John is on here, but I did see Pastor Tabor and pop on. So God bless you, because I love you. She's one of my customers. I do website redesign. So New St. John is in Charlotte, and this was their first website. Okay. This is the website they came to me with last year. They were like, Trevor, this is what we have. You know, we don't have a church logo. We don't have any of that stuff. We just have this website. You know, it's dated. You know, it was unsecure. You see this, if you have a website and you see this little triangle right here, the new generation know to abandon ship. They're not visiting your website, because this means that your website is a flight risk. And the best analogy I can give you is if you bought a house and you bought a house with no doors, that's pretty much what this looks like. So if you walk up to a house that has no doors on it, that house is unsecure. Anybody can walk into that house. So whenever a person sees this triangle right here, they know that they're not supposed to be on this. They're like, nope, we got to get off the site real quick. Now, this is their first one that they had. This is the one that I made for them. Okay. This is a more comprehensive, friendly approach. They have all the information. We made them like pretty much had them help me to come up with the design. I built it for them so that they would have it from scratch. They have all the things they need right here on the front. The church colors are incorporated into it slightly. You know, all the things they need to help you get to where you need to get to is incorporated into the website. And that's just to make sure that there is a way for you to make sure that people understand what they have to do to get to where they need to get to. So like I said, different ways to give. We have that set, even like different campaigns, depending on what you need done. Forms for different things as well are also in there. Live broadcasting, which I always link. If you have a Facebook or a YouTube, I can link it to your website. So if a person doesn't want to get on YouTube or doesn't want to get on Facebook, they can actually just use their phone and go straight to your website and watch it here as well. So that's also a part of it. I always include a digital Bible. So if a person is online and they want to be able to search the scriptures, they can literally just go here and type in the scripture that they want, and it takes them exactly where you're going for the service. So that those things are also in there too. So yeah, but I wanted to let me get back to here one more time. And this is the end. And I'm going to show you this processing situation real quick. And this is the one I've recently talked to a company. It's called Take Charge. We had a very, very good conversation. It's owned by a Christian man out of Jacksonville, Florida. And he was pretty much just talking about how much money, the millions and billions of dollars that almost close to $1 billion that church lost during the pandemic because of processing fees. So if you go through Givelify and let's say a person is giving $20 $25. Well, Givelify is going to take a piece of that pie from your 25, so you don't get your 25. So if you're asking for an exact number, normally Givelify never gives it back to you. PayPal offers a brief reprieve where they'll say, hey, they ask the person, do you want to pay the fees? 9 times out of 10, the person's not paying the fees. They don't want to pay no extra money. So what ends up happening is that the church still has lesser money than they actually asked for, because PayPal, Givelify, Tithely, they're taking minimum 2.3% up to like 6% of the funds that you're on that they're actually asking for. So with Take Charge, they have a service called Swipe Simple. And Swipe Simple, what it does is that you can create a page via phone. You can text it. You can also have it attached to your website. And they have it to where you can automatically configure the processing fee for the cards before they even do the charge. So let's say it's $25. Normally that's $1 extra for the processing fee. So they charge $26. So that way the church gets $25. They take their $1, you get your $25. And that way you don't lose any money. We've seen this comprehensively for our church. As a quick example, we had a situation pop up. We were trying to do a quick fundraiser for a church in Dominican Republic. We asked for certain amounts of money. We did get the amount that was asked for, but we did not configure how much process fees was going to come out of that. So we lost. It was an exact $5,000 amount that we needed to take care of this particular thing. We lost somewhere in the ballpark like $200-300 because of processing fees and trying to shuffle it from one bank to the next. So we had to go back and do a quick amount to make up the money that was lost because they had taken out those processing fees. So I don't know how many churches have actually had that or seen that happen as of late. If you're doing cash on check, praise Jesus, keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. That's perfect. But if you're using anything digitally, this is a very comprehensive and easy thing. If it's something that you're interested in, literally, my information is coming up now. You let me know. If you need any help with your website, Facebook, YouTube, Swipe Simple as far as processing and things like that to help out your church, you can email me. My email is right there, contact@ptkllc.com. You can also go through my website, which is ptkllc.us. That you can go in there, ask for a consultation, or just contact me and tell me what you need, and I'm definitely here to help out. So I wanted to make sure I didn't want to take up all the time for this. So I want to leave the floor open to questions and things that you think you need pertinent help in right now for your ministry that we may be able to give you some extra information about. Floor is open.
Elder Stevens, thank you so much. This has been wonderfully rich. For those of you who have questions, we've got some in the chat that we want to hit first.
Okay.
Some great comments given by Sister Dalton to help the conversation. And there's a question in the chat as well. But anyone who would like to ask a question here in just a moment, if you will please use the reactions and raise hand so we can do this decently and in order to make sure we get your questions asked and answered. So as folks are thinking through their live in the moment questions, Sister Dalton had asked a few things. One which was actually a question that I had. So when you were in the portion of the presentation where you were covering music, Sister Dalton had asked a question about the song, did you play a CD or did you have live instrumentation? So while playing the music and you were talking about getting blocked online, talk us through real quick about playing a CD versus playing your own rendition with it still having the same melody, which is still going to get you caught. But if you'll cover that, please.
Absolutely. So both of them you'll get caught. That's the short answer. Both of them will get caught. Long answer. If you play a CD and the video that's streaming can audibly hear the melody that makes that song, it will copyright strike that song. If you were singing it with no instruments and you were just singing, it will copyright strike that song. If you had the actual I'll say band, Lord have mercy. You had the musicians playing the melody, it will capture this song. So the reason why there was this app made in the early 2000s called Shazam. Shazam was an app that people could pretty much just pick up their phone, put it to their mouth, and they have to just sing a part of the melody of the song. And Shazam has an algorithm that matches it to every song that it has in this category, and it matches it, and it's that song, and it would tell you what song it is. So Facebook, YouTube, they're using that same algorithm. So whether you sing it verbally, whether you're playing it with the musicians, whether you're playing a CD, they will find that song. That's just like I said, it's unfortunate, but that's what they've done. That's how technology has already increased. AI has gotten a whole lot better. So yeah, like it can capture the CD being played, it can capture the musicians playing, it can also capture how you sing it. All three are within their context to actually mark as a flag against the copyright for the use of that song.
Only a pushback I will have is if you have your proper licensing for the CCLI and the CCSC.
Yes, ma'am.
You can play the live instrumentation, and then you have recourse from them. That's why I asked the question if it was CD or a live instrumentation.
Gotcha. So like.
Yeah, so, but the challenge, and also, if you store, part of the issue is storing for replaying later. So if you're streaming it live and you're doing a live instrumentation, it will allow you to play it and you can delete it, and that's totally legal.
Yep.
If you store it for people to listen to at another date, that's when they get you, if you do not have the proper streaming licenses.
Amen. So, because like normally with when you end a live stream, they ask if you want to delete it or if you want to keep it. 9 times out of 10, most people they're like, "We're gonna keep this." No, just because like that's just a like it's no harm, no foul. Like that, they're like, well, we done the thing. We want people to be able to go back and listen to it. So yeah, like that's very true. Like if you have the licensing, you normally can get by on the instrumentation part, but most churches have not gotten the licensing. And I can't remember. I'll ask you a favor, Sister Dalton, if you don't mind. If you have the exact location to apply for the licensing, if you can drop that in chat or just have it readily available to get it to the people.
I'll do both of those and have those available. I'll put them in the chat window.
Awesome. Thank you.
I was about to throw that in. So CCLI, guys, so this is what conversations sound like when I'm on the phone with Dalton and Steven. So I know both of you are like, CCLI, what is that? Somebody tell a lie. It's basically a clearinghouse, almost like an insurance, just to make it even more simplistic, that allows you to have some degree of protections when it comes to these copyright infringements. It still doesn't protect you from everything, but it is a good backstop to have. There is an annual subscription. You know, of course, it's not free, but these are those things that you get it and you read up on it. This is not something you hear it and you retain it. You're going to have you and then someone on your staff or someone outside like a Stevens who works with you to kind of keep up with these things and connect all of these dots, just as they've done so wonderfully for our convention. So thank you guys both on that. Let me get to the next because we got a few live questions as well. I expected 1,000 questions on the processing fee, but I think the processing fee questions are coming along here. Oh, and then also Sister Dalton put in the making sure that we put in, I do not own the rights to this music, on your Facebook and as well as on your.
So I have a quick rebuttal for that. So because of recent updates to copyright guys, they don't care about that.
That's what I'm saying. It means nothing. When people put that statement, it means absolutely nothing. All you're doing is admitting that you know you're wrong.
It's almost raising a flag.
Yeah, it's like, I know I'm wrong, but I'm doing it anyway.
You robbed a store, but you came out with your hands up. You're like, look, man, I was just hungry. I had to get this candy.
I didn't do that wrong. This stuff in my pockets was already.
Yeah, like, but that's that. Yeah, but definitely by doing that, they're like, we still gonna flag you. We're still gonna flag the video. So
okay, so here was another good alternative to for storage, purchasing a program like Wondershare. You can pull your videos from Facebook. When Elder Stevens was talking about how if you upload to Facebook, you can't pull it back down easily. But first, if you upload to YouTube, you can download it very, very easily. But there are options. So if your videos are out there, but again, you want to get somebody to help you with this stuff that knows what they're doing, because if not, you're going to spend so many hours and the learning curve is not quite as quickly as you'd like for it to be. Sister Dawson also said that they use that vehicle for their Bible study. And I think that was making reference back to Vimeo.
StreamYard.
To StreamYard.
StreamYard.
Yes.
StreamYard. Okay.
StreamYard will bless you.
Yeah.
StreamYard will bless your life.
It will bless your whole life in ministry.
Yeah. Just take my advice, y'all. Don't get on a call and ask Dalton and Stevens a question like this, because you'll be here the rest of the day and they all you hear are bells and noises and they just talking back and forth. You're like, okay, now what did you say? Okay, so Dr. Holder's question is, do they tell the customer who is charging to add the $1, or do we need to tell them? So this is making reference to
Swipe Simple.
Swipe Simple, and then all of the other giving platforms where we know charge transaction fees, who may or may not give the option to put that fee on the end user. So
Gotcha. I'm gonna actually be transparent. I'm gonna show it to you. Because I think that sometimes seeing is far better than than hearing about it. So
Sister Bird, we're coming to you next, Sister Bird, just so you know.
I'm gonna pull up a quick. So I've made a link for one of mine already. So let me share this screen so you can see what it looks like. Which one? Yes, the right one. Okay, yeah. So this is Swipe Simple. This is a quick form made under Swipe Simple for a payment that I have for podcasting. So I charge $35 a month for podcasting. And that's like video. I mean, that's like audio creation, making sure it's distributed to everybody that needs to be gotten to and stuff like that. So what this does is that collects their information here, address. They can pay the whole year if they want to. They can pay as many months as they want. And as you see admin fee. It's right there, $1.40 because of that. So they know they're paying $36.40. It's not a surprise. Now, as far as like when it comes to you talking to the people, this is a public conversation you have to have with the church. And this is something I've seen multiple churches do because they understand that we're not in the old era anymore. Most money exchange happens by card. But what most people don't consider is why a lot of these companies and stuff are upcharging you on items. It's not, it just started before inflation. Like before, I think it was like 2019, you saw most people that were doing anything digital goods or like, let's say a Best Buy. Best Buy went up on most of their price by like 2 to 3%. The reason they did that is because they had to pay Visa more money. So Visa was asked for a certain percentage because they charge Visa all day, every day. That's why they keep trying to push you to buy their credit cards. Then they don't have to pay nothing. So in that same, and this is like pretty much like a circumvention of that, like where you're passing this off to the parishioner. Like say, look, we need the exact dollar amount, but we can't get it because you're using your card. If you gave it to us in cash, we got it in cash, it's the direct amount. You gave it to us in check, it's a direct amount. But the moment you pull a card out, we have to process that card. If it's Visa, MasterCard, Discover, anybody like that, they're going to charge at least at minimum a 3.5% interest rate at minimum for whoever that's actually doing it. So because of that, you're pretty much circumventing that when it comes to that. So like I said, but like this is the system of Swipe Simple. Just to, like I said, I was going to be transparent with y'all all over. So they let you do virtual terminal, which is, let's say if you were in the church and you had to collect funds, they give you a virtual terminal to take cash, to take check, and they also let you do card. Either one is fine. You can do it directly inside the building and it's safe. They do sell, like though, you know, if you already know Square has those attachments for phones. They have those too, where a person could like literally run their card and it goes straight through Swipe Simple. But that charge, that admin charge or that process fee is done ahead, so that way the person's not caught unaware. Now, when Givelify does it, Givelify don't really tell you. They just take it. It's something you agreed to the moment that you made that account. So they're going to take whatever amount, which fluctuates. Sometimes I think they've settled in now, but in the beginning, it was 1.99. It was cheap. And I think that some PayPal probably still does that, if I'm not mistaken. They do like 1.99%, but a lot of the other ones are like in the 2s and 3s. And if you request quick transfer, they add an additional like 2 to 3%. So it's taking a lot of money from the church just to be able to make ends meet. So yeah.
I have a different philosophy on that. In that's just the cost of doing business. It's almost like you have the building. So when it comes to your accounting practices as a church, when you put that as what your accounting costs are, there's certain ways of handling that on a financial end that it doesn't seem like it's a burden. You just add, it's just like paying your rent.
Yep.
And paying for your light bill. It depends on what message you want to have and what convenience do you want to convey to your parishioners or your congregants. You tell your congregants, we know you're tithing already. And so we want to say that your tithe is going to handle, their tithe is in its essence handling the process fee already. We're just budgeting when it comes to your fundraising, what it takes to process the money. So it depends on the message that you have, because that fee is going to get paid one way or the other.
Yep.
And it's being paid by the congregant one way or the other.
Amen.
Are we paying that money as a congregant on the up end, or is the congregant paying it because it's a part of the administrative cost for the church? So it's about the messaging that you can share with your church more so than thinking you're losing money, because the money is getting paid.
It is. And guys, I've got some suggestions I can help you with on that front, because I know we all have different levels and ways we process things internally. And the biggest thing is making sure that your register is going to be accurate, that it shows Tony Barr gave $25.
That's the point.
Tony Barr gave it less the transaction fee, because then you start getting in trouble that it looks like you're cooking the book. So you have to be, it's a lot more of a deeper issue than it may sound like on the surface. So that's one of those things that we'll follow with something and give you some best practices on that. Okay, Miss Cynthia Bird, you have risen your hand. If you will go ahead, I will ask you to unmute yourself. I tried to, I did, good. Go right ahead with your question.
Okay, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hey, my question goes back to the podcasting information that you shared.
Yes, ma'am.
And you referenced SoundCloud and shared some really interesting analytics.
Mhm.
So what I'm wondering is SoundCloud, is that something that's similar to Spreaker as far as a podcasting platform?
Yes, ma'am.
Or, okay, so that's another podcasting platform that you can use. Okay, is there a charge for SoundCloud?
Yes, there is.
I like the map, the analytics that you showed with that.
So the cool thing is they're not the only ones that do that. Like I said, I've just been, for our church, I've been doing that, using SoundCloud for our church since 2015. This was like at the advent of podcasting. I was testing it out and having it squared away. This is before people were looking for churches on internet to do anything like that. So, but there are multiple free services now that you can use. Like some people I know use Podbean. You have to pay every single month for Podbean. Another one is what's the name of it? Oh, I forgot off the top of the dome already. It's like it's a variation of Bean. I just can't remember. But then you have other ones that usually have a .fm at the end, like they say an Anchor or a Seaside. I think is the name of one of them. They actually give you the same analytics, and they go further, because they'll tell you what devices were used. They'll tell you the city, the exact city, and how many people in the city were actually listening to it. They'll tell you female, male, non-binary. They'll tell you everything. What that person identifies as, they will tell you everything about a particular program or how they listen to a particular song, a particular sermon or message. They give you all that, and like I said, it's free. Like so like a Stitcher, iHeartRadio, which is one that most people know, is iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio also lets you do it for free. So that's if you want a radio station, you have to pay for a radio station. But if you want a podcast, you can actually give your podcast to iHeartRadio, and they'll put it within their distribution for churches under their registry. So there are so many different ways to use that technology to like really spread the gospel, and also ways to encourage. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, we've got messages from people in Afghanistan. I mean, that just, I can't compute to you what that means. You're getting people all over just saying, no, praise God for your faithfulness in the word.
I was just wondering, I'm sorry, how do you direct people to that podcast?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
To your podcast platform, period. That's my last question. Thank you.
So on you, what type of phone you got?
An Android.
Okay, so on Android, if you can, do you have your icons in alphabetical order?
You don't want me to pick the phone up.
I'll just playing.
Okay.
I just want to poke. No, so on your phone, if you search podcast on your device, or just go to the Google Play Store. If you don't have it downloaded, it's free.
Okay.
Under podcast, you can type in the name of a church. And if they have a podcast, it'll pop up. You subscribe to it, and you have access to every single one. The subscription is free. And you have access to all of the sermons or messages or encouraging things directly from that particular church, immediately available on your device.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, and it's the same would be for any church that does do one. All you have to do then is just find that church by name. Find a church by name within the Apple podcast or within the Android podcast market, and they'll pop up, and you can just go ahead and listen to it right there on the spot.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. This is great. We've got a question by Dr. Holder. We've got a question by Dr. Lockhart and Dr. Tabron. And we got one question in the chat from Pastor Isaac, and we're going to wrap up. Beloved, this will be available for replay, and we'll push it out so everybody can watch it again. I will tell you this preemptively. We're trying our very best to set up a session during an annual session in Wilmington, and it's just going to be like a bring your own technology moment where you'll come and you'll sign up for a time to talk with Elder Stevens, and I might, if y'all pray with me, I might be able to get Sister Deborah Dalton because they are
come on in.
Duo, and be able to talk you through some of the technology that you have and maybe make some suggestions to you. Again, it's not going to be a full service solution, but it'll help you just kind of get down the road a little ways. So, my dear friend, Dr. Pamela Holder, woman of God, the floor is yours. Go ahead and please share your question.
All right, good afternoon. We actually have the CCLI. My question was, or is, do they have a registry? How do they know that we are already registered with them?
Are you still getting copyright strikes?
Are we still getting what?
Are you still are any of your videos online still getting flagged by Facebook?
I don't know. I'll have to ask our media team. But
they're supposed to give you I won't say like a code, but it's supposed to give you something that goes into Facebook that pretty much lets you bypass the stuff that normally they'll give you certain permissions that other people normally don't. But like, so I'll give you an example. Whenever I do licensing for any of the sounds and stuff I have within my registry, I'm given a form of order that lets me kind of copy that and paste it and tell people like, look, I'm fine. I can do this, and you don't have to flag me for anything. And that normally takes them like usually about 20 to 30 days. Sometimes it takes a little bit shorter than that. And they're like, okay, well, you're fine. But with the licensing, like for the music, like live instrumentation, it's supposed to go in ahead. So when you start playing music, they're supposed to already know what's actually happening. So there has to be some type of writ, like something that they've given you that allows you to put that into Facebook and other things, so that way they won't try and flag your account. So
it was
so,
a letter or a certificate or something.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I was just wondering that.
Yes, ma'am.
And I answered the other question I answered for myself. What about Cash App for church? Do you know anything about that?
So I got good news and I got bad news. Cash App is a wonderful tool made by the company called Square. Square they don't play about their money. And here comes the bad news. Bad news is last year in September, October, Mr. President Joe Biden and them signed into law that if you're making over $600 in Cash App, that it has to be fully registered into your account for said things that it's supposed to be put into. So people have been trying to use Cash App kind of as a way to circumvent how they actually report funds and stuff like that. I'm just saying this out loud because I have some churches that they forget, oh yeah, we got this money through Cash App, we got to file it, but they don't have like a tax form. Well, this year you'll get a tax form from Cash App. So Cash App will make you put that onto your registry for next year for how you actually receive money. Now, the consequence of that, I'm not sure. I don't know, because like I said, we're still really dealing with the wild, wild west when it comes to how money is being made and how technology is doing these things. But I don't personally like mixing church stuff with Cash App. That's me. I understand, but if that's an option that you have right now, please for love of all things wonderful, make sure you have accurate reporting on every single dime that went into your account for church. Because if something crosses up, let's say if it crosses up and you sent money to account and it didn't register back or something, if something goes wrong and you miscalculated, that could be a ding on you because they're reporting it as actual earned funds. So that's my only thing is like definitely if you're using Cash App, you have to use that with the utmost discretion going into this next year, because this year is the first year of litigation against the use of Cash App. They had to change it because of cryptocurrency and a couple other things that popped up last year. Those two things, Cash App and crypto, were added to taxes this year at the beginning of the year. And it's likely going to be worse going from this year to because this is a full year of a Cash App record for every single person that's using it for business or for church and stuff like that. So I just say use it with discretion, with great discretion. That's my thing. I'm just careful about that because that's not what it was. It was not intended to be used by the church. It wasn't like this. That's not in their guidelines at all to be used by church at all. Small businesses, yes, but church, it was not in the guidelines for it to be used for that. Yeah.
So guys, let me jump in and say this. Please make sure you consult with your financial consultant and make sure your tax expert to make sure you're doing things in line. I want to be careful whenever we're talking about things of this nature related to funding your churches, because I don't want it to come off as a recommendation. You need to get with your specialist.
Absolutely.
And have those conversations and make sure you understand. We're all already over our time allotted, so I want to make sure we get these questions in and then wrap us up in respect of everybody's time. But Elder Stevens, you have been doing marvelously well. Okay, Dr. Lockhart, if you will go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. I wanted to know, is there a single license that covers all of church's copyright compliance?
I wish. I really wish there was, but no, ma'am. They're because once again, like I was saying earlier, we're in the wild, wild west.
Okay.
For the digital world, these things change. Like Facebook has to update their stuff every 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
YouTube every 2 because they're owned by Google. Okay. So there's a lot of change going on in the background. It's something that they couldn't guarantee you that unless you owned it. I saw one question in the chat that if a person was doing own music, you have the rights for that music. So if you have the rights for that music, you should have the licensing agreement and also the information for that sound to submit to them to show that you have ownership. Then they'll remove.
It can still be deemed though. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Dr. Linda Tabron.
Pastor Tabron, hey there.
My question was about Cash App, so you have answered that.
Okay.
All right. Good hearing your voice. All right. From my brother and friend, Pastor Isaac. It looks like you have fully recovered, my brother. I'm so glad things are well with you. Come on with your question, sir. Pastor Isaac, are you still with us?
Yes,
there you go.
I'm here, Dr. Barr. Elder Stevens, thank you for your presentation. And I think you answered my question as it regards to original music that was flagged.
Yes, sir.
And how to go about in terms of dealing with that issue, because we had that issue this week that I composed something because we flagged before and then they flagged us again. And so I just want to know what the steps in terms of recourse to handle that situation.
So if this is on Facebook, YouTube, which one is it on?
It was a Facebook.
Facebook. Okay, so on Facebook, and I'll be as quick as I quite possibly can, Dr. Barr. So I have the option up here. So on Facebook, you see where it says it's been partially muted, like where it has the copyright, you click it.
Yes.
When you click it, that asks to see details.
Okay.
Right. From here, your options will pop up. I'm just waiting for, come on, computer. You know you faster than this. Hit continue. I'm like, this is just telling us how many territories it's been muted in.
Okay.
Now, what you need to do is hit continue. All right. And this is like pretty much they're like letting you have the option. Like right now, it's you using music So here you need to submit a dispute.
Okay.
And here is where you can open up a form. And if you have content like licensed content,
Yes.
you pretty much copy and paste that ownership agreement for that license with its number and where it came from, the office and stuff like that. It normally comes in like a little certificate kind of situation. You do that. And once you do that, you hit submit, and it goes to them. And it usually for them, it takes them, they always tell you 30 days. Sometimes it don't take that long, but usually for them, it's like 30 days. And that way they'll look over the dispute. If they approve, then they'll send you an email back saying that the approval was actually granted and that the copyright strike is now gone. Now, unfortunately, you might have to do that for each one. That's the only thing that's the burden and a bane of my existence, is that like right now I have to record every single license issue whenever there's flagged if we own it. I'm like, okay, we own this. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll talk to you in 30 days. It's still blocked for like until they get it done.
Right.
So yes, sir, but you have to do that for each one. Each time that it pops up, just I almost have it ready on my desktop. I just click it. I'm like, I know you're gonna ask for it. I just click it, and I just pop it in the moment that I see it. But yes, sir, that's going to be the only recourse, at least that we have at this particular point in time, is doing it that way.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Well, beloved, the presentation is in the chat. If you click on the chat icon at the bottom of your screen, you might have to scroll up or down a little bit and you'll see digital solutions for churches. And you can go ahead and click and download that. You can hit the little, probably just clicking on the file or hitting the three dots to Iceland. Either of those ways should let you download the presentation. We will be putting this on the GBSC website for replay. And we'll also put the resource up there so you can download the presentation. And Elder Stevens' contact information is in the presentation. Elder Stevens, will you go ahead and just drop it in the chat real quick? There have been several requests in the chat for you to kind of put it there raw so everybody can see it. But thank you all for joining us. We want to keep striving to give you good, relevant information to help our churches. Again, where I started in Psalm 137, how do we sing the songs of Zion in a strange land? This is a strange land that we're in, but it's not strange to our God. So you be encouraged, keep doing the great things you're doing. And please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know as a convention how we can serve you better. So thank you again, Elder Stevens. Any closing words?
I would just say thank you guys for joining and for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I'm appreciative for your time. I do not take that lightly. I know that you guys got lots of stuff to do, especially in serving the people of God. But I just say this to encourage you to not be afraid. I say that again, do not be afraid. The Lord is definitely in the midst. He's doing some wonderful things with the technology that's been used so far. And that you also have people that are around you that you can collaborate with if you don't have the ability to do it the way that you want to. My prayer is that we have some hubs, some church hubs that, Ms. Dalton, that got everything, and rather than us going to convention centers and paying money to absurd amounts of money to go out and pay other people to do it, we keep that money in home and we take care of each other in this regard. But anything that you guys need from me when it comes to technology questions and things like that, I drop my stuff in the chat. Let me know. And any way that I can help, website, podcast, and whatever it is, I'm definitely here to help you out.
Well, I don't know which one is Batman and which one is Robin, but Sister Dalton, whichever one you are.
She Batman.
She's Batman? Okay. I'm the butler. Sister Dalton, any closing remarks? Church guys, let me say this to you. Deborah Dalton and St. Paul in Charlotte single-handedly floated our convention. Amen. A lot of the technology and a lot of the engagements you guys saw at the end of 2020 and all of 21 was because of St. Paul. And I mean, they put us in their bosom. They made sure we were strengthened, had some semblance of an idea of what we needed to do. Mm-hmm. And then they let us take baby steps out. But St. Paul is always in the background, Sister Dalton specifically. So I wanted to publicly make that acknowledgement of what she has done for us.
Amen.
How we rode in the trunk of their car throughout 21 from a technology perspective. But Sister Dalton, anything you want to add in closing? She is part of the Brain Trust, guys. I want you to know she is part of the Brain Trust technology here. So anything you want to add?
I just wanted to add how important it is for us to understand that none of us has to do this alone.
Amen.
And it's all about building the kingdom in our different areas that we do it. And I'm learning a lot from him. We learn from each other because it's impossible to have one solution. And it's a matter of asking the right questions. And thank you, Dr. Barr and Elder Stevens for this platform. And I know it's going to bless a lot of folks who are part of it. And it helped me. So you hope it helped me too. So thank you. All right. Until the next time. I just laugh because I actually have a picture of me in a Batman suit. So I'm just laughing.
There you go. See? Prophecy fulfilled.
I need to put that on my picture instead of my profile picture. Anyway.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Grace and peace. We'll talk to y'all soon.
All right. Bye-bye.